Hey guys, your boy Sean Bellamy back with you with a brand new episode of Jack of All Plays. This is episode 10 on my podcast of Jack of All Plays. You guys know what it is by now. Let's get right into it, starting in the NFL. The Arizona Cardinals, they end up releasing DeAndre Hopkins. The Cardinals released a 5-time All-Pro wide receiver after failing to trade him. This was not a post-June 1st cut, so they have to eat all that $22.6 million dollars in dead money till 2024. Not really much to say here besides, obviously, the Arizona Cardinals are probably going to be bad again this year. I feel bad for Kyler Murray. I don't know what is going on. I don't feel bad for Jonathan Gannon. You obviously see that behind you guys. You guys know by now I am a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Jonathan Gannon is the new head coach for Arizona Cardinals. He got the promotion when he was a defensive coordinator for Philadelphia Eagles, and there's no love between me and a lot of Eagles fans when it comes to Jonathan Gannon. When you hear his name, you probably wouldn't just spit on the ground after the stuff that's come out post the Super Bowl loss we had to Kansas City Chiefs. But this is not a Philly Eagles talk episode. Tune in for that also on my channel. But this is so overall though, this has been a really bad start for Jonathan Gannon and really just continuing problems going on for Kyler Murray when it comes to running the Arizona Cardinals offense. Like I said, I have no idea what the Cardinals are doing. I still can't believe they couldn't find somebody a trade partner to get DeAndre Hopkins. I believe DeAndre Hopkins is only 30 years old. And he's still a top 10 wide receiver. You could argue top 5. You could argue probably as one of the definitely top 5 when it comes to the best hands in the league. When DeAndre Hopkins is out there, that man is a baller. I don't know why they couldn't find anybody to trade at all. But I mean, if you're a team out there that definitely wants DeAndre Hopkins, you don't have to give up anything now. You just, as far as the money, he's probably going to want to pick him up. But there is some teams he did list. DeAndre Hopkins was on I don't know if it was a radio show or a podcast this past week or whatever, and he listed the teams he would want to go to because of their quarterbacks. The teams he listed, I got it right here on my computer. He said the Philadelphia Eagles, the Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Baltimore Ravens. I'm pretty sure you probably named a few more, but those were like the top 4 that a lot of teams were looking at, because when you look at these teams, you got Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson. Regardless of what people say, that man is a MVP caliber player. Obviously, he's won MVP. When he's out there, he's a great quarterback. Definitely up there with the elites. You already know about Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, there's nothing else to really be said. Future Hall of Famer, just come off his second Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes is a beast. Goddamn Patrick Mahomes. Stop my Eagles from getting our second rate. Goddamn Chiefs. And then you got the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen, regardless of what people may think of Josh Allen, he is a baller. He is a good quarterback. And having DeAndre Hopkins line up alongside Stephon Diggs and that wide receiver core would be great for them, of course. And of course, you got my team, the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts, MVP runner-up. We have a Super Bowl caliber team. Yeah, and then you have, imagine DeAndre Hopkins just lining up alongside Davante Smith and, A.J. Brown. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, the Eagles would have to probably put Davante Smith in the slot, which would be, it would just be unfair. You got Dallas Goedert and everything. Overall, the Cardinals just gave up a really good player for nothing, really. They said just cutting him, and then they got to eat all that dead money. Right now, he hasn't signed nobody. I've checked like every 5 seconds because, like I said, as an Eagles fan, he did list us, and I do trust our GM Howie Roseman is going to look into it. I'm pretty sure a lot of teams will look into it. If I had to choose, obviously not trying to be biased, if you don't go to the Eagles. If I had to choose, I would want him to go to the Baltimore Ravens. One, of course, I don't want him to go to no division rival. I don't want the Cowboys somehow getting him. I don't want the Giants. He's not going to go to the Giants because they don't. I'm not saying Daniel Jones is a great quarterback, but my point is, as long as he's not NFC, we'll have to deal with it. I would rather him go to Baltimore, though, because again, I'm a huge fan of Lamar Jackson, and I think Lamar Jackson deserves more weapons. I think the Baltimore Ravens, has done a better job this year trying to surround him with better wide receivers and more, just more help, to just rely on their run heavy package that they like to do. So yeah, but I think having DeAndre Hopkins with Lamar Jackson would be absolutely great for Baltimore. But again, yeah, I don't know what Arizona's doing. I'm sorry, Arizona Cardinals fans. They weren't already like no contender or anything like that, but I just don't know what the direction they're trying to go. You got a new head coach. You paid all this money to your quarterback, Kyler Murray, and you're continuing doing things that just showing you don't want to move in the right direction. It's very strange. Moving on, you guys. Davante Adams is facing a civil lawsuit. The star wide receiver. My gosh, I'm sorry. It's early. Leave me alone. The star wide receiver from the Las Vegas Raiders is getting sued from an NFL video production crew member when DeAndre Hopkins pushed him to the ground after leaving the field on October 10th. The crew member's name is Park Zetley. Zetley said he feared for his life, and that is the reason why he is suing Davante Adams for the civil lawsuit. Obviously, like I said, this happened October 10th. I think I was watching NFL Red Zone when I heard it happened. I think Davante Adams was pissed or something. He can't. Basically, I think the Raiders lost. Davante Adams was leaving the field. Excuse me, and he pushed over Mr. Zetley. Now, this isn't really a huge story. Like I said, it happened October 10th. I think at the time, Davante Adams was charged with a misdemeanor, assault misdemeanor, or something like that. So he's already kind of like paid for it. He didn't go to jail or anything like that, but he had to pay a fine and everything like that. He apologized. This is no more than a cash grab, though. I'm not going to sit here and give you guys a full-on analysis of my thought. This is a cash grab. I read to y'all, he said he feared for his life. That's what the articles were saying. He said he feared for his life when Davante Adams pushed him to the ground. And I'm not saying what Davante Adams did was right. You know, just because you lose a game or something's going on, you can't take your anger out and just push random people, let alone an NFL crew member, when you're leaving the field. And I get emotions get the best of us, especially after a game or something like that, especially if it could have been a huge game or a game you could have won. I understand. But obviously, Davante Adams is in the wrong for doing, the pushing and stuff like that. But this is a cash grab. I don't understand I fear for my life. He was trying to attack me. He was trying to, really put me down and hurt me. Now, there was saying that if he got pushed, that there was a concussion symptoms, I guess, going on with Mr. Zetley. So it could have been bad, but I don't know. But it wasn't, is my point. It's just a cash grab. If a guy, clearly he sees the money he can get from this. I don't see Davante Adams even fighting this. I'm pretty sure his lawyers, whoever represent him, I'm like, listen, man, just pay him before we go to court and anything like that. Just get it over and done with. I expect this to be honestly over by the time the season starts. But yeah, I don't see nothing else that really to talk about. This is a cash grab. He did not fear for. I guess I can't say he didn't fear for his life, but what do you mean you fear for your life? When you look at the footage, it does show Davante Adams pushing him, but it wasn't he jumped on him immediately afterwards and just kept beating him down or something like that. He pushed him because I think Mr. Zetley was in his way when he was trying to get off the field. How crew members try to get in everybody's face, reporters be jumping in front of players, everyone. And sometimes, like I said, as a player, you just want to get to the locker room. You just want to change, you want to get out of here, you're done for the day, and everybody's in your face, cameras in your face, everyone won't move out the way, and you're just kind of like, y'all, come on, man, I'm trying to get out the way. Again, I'm not saying what Davante Adams did was right, but overall, dude, it's not that big of a deal. I don't know, man. If there was some lasting injuries going on with Mr. Zetley, then I get it. But no, this is a cash grab 101. It's not that hard to understand. The NFL approves rule change. Excuse me, I cannot talk this morning. The NFL approves a rule change. The rule change was allowing moving the ball to the 25-yard line after fair catches on kickoffs. Of course, NFL special teams coordinators and special team players alike didn't like the idea, and I don't either. I'm just going to say that. So overall, again, like I said, the rule change is allowing moving the ball to the 25-yard line after a fair catch on kickoffs. I don't know. Andy Reid, shout out to Andy Reid, one of my favorite head coaches in the league. He said it just. I think Travis Kelce ripped it. A lot of people have been ripping, like I'm saying, not just special teams coordinators and special team players. Fans like myself have ripped this rule because it just doesn't make any sense. Not much really to talk about besides the fact that with this rule change, it's like they're getting closer to making kickoffs irrelevant. What is the point of having kick returns, stuff like that, if they can just call fair catch and go to the 25-yard line? Imagine a guy just getting a kickoff, right? Just a kickoff. And it's not punts, it's kickoffs. Where you could just catch it like let's say they catch it at the 2-yard line, it doesn't go in the end zone, they catch it, and they realize they probably can't get to the 25 or whatever, which is the start, basically the default the line that you start at. 25-yard line is where you start at if you take like a knee in the end zone off a kickoff, whatever. So a guy catches the ball like at the 2-yard line, realize that, the special team from the other team is coming at him, and he realizes he can't do nothing. So he just calls a fair catch, waves his finger in the air, and then he gets started the 25-yard line after not moving it off from the 2-yard line. You know what I'm trying to say? Like it just eliminates the point in the excitement of kickoff returns. When we already have issues, in my opinion, with kickoff returns and punt returns because of all the flags that are thrown. Like, I can't tell you, and a lot of NFL fans can, agree with this, that when you see a kickoff and a kickoff return or a punt return, you don't even really get that excited because it's like 9 times out of 10 they throw a flag anyway. There's like a ticky-tack blocking in the back or maybe a tripping penalty or something happens, or a holding penalty or whatever, and it already just takes the fun out of kickoff. So now you're telling me that you don't even really have to work hard as on the special teams anymore when it comes to kickoffs. You just get the kickoff and you just wave your finger in the air and then you start at the 25-yard line. I don't get that. I always liked it when you called in the end zone, you took a knee, whatever, touchback, whatever you want to call it, and then just, well, it's not a touchback, I'm sorry, you take a knee and then you just go to the 25-yard line. Cool. No one really argued with that. That was fine, but I don't know. Andy Reid, like I said, the Kansas City head coach, said that he believes that it's getting closer to flag football. Now, the reason for this rule change, to speak, for the other side of the NFL here, is I guess there was some injury data that came out that's shown that a lot of, problems, head injuries and stuff like that do come from kickoffs and stuff like that, their special teams and stuff. I will argue, this is football. It sucks that injuries do play a part in this, but again, this is a very physical sport. It's been that way since the dawn of time. I understand they want to be more cautious with this thing and want players to be safe. I get all that. They change the helmets, it seems like, every year to make it more player safety. I understand. But, dude, come on, man. These guys get paid to go out there. They understand the risk. They've understood that since they was able to pick up a football and play on, their little league teams or stuff like that. In little league teams, say baseball, Sean, Jesus. You know what I mean? Play on their high school teams, middle school teams, whatever. When they was able to play, they understood what would happen when you put on those helmets and pads. I don't understand why the NFL is making it like they're trying to change it to flag football. Like, because again, injuries still happen. You can do all this all you want, but again, those helmets and pads, there's a chance you're going to get hurt. And like I said, it's unfortunate. If I had my wish in a super fantasy Madden type way, I would turn all injuries off and there would be no injuries in football, but that's obviously not realistic. It's a very, very, very physical sport. I don't know what else you really can say about it. I don't like this rule change. A lot of people don't like this rule change. Like I said, it's just making special teams more and more relevant as time goes on. Like, no one's going to care about, kickoffs. Like, what is the point of even having anyone out there if they can just catch or anyone out there that's dangerous, like return kickoffs or whatever, if they can just go like this and be like, all right, guys, let's start at the 25. Like, I don't know. I don't agree with that. Moving on, you guys, that was the NFL news of the week here on my podcast, Jack of All Plays, episode 10. We'll move over to the NBA portion of the show. Oh man. LeBron James expected to return. I didn't put much notes on this because it was absolutely ridiculous from the start. After the Los Angeles Lakers got swept by the Denver Nuggets, where I've said last week that clearly the Denver Nuggets was a better team. Everyone could see that. I thought LeBron balled his ass off. I think game 4, when they lost at Staples Center, Los Angeles last week. He finished with like 40 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. He did everything you could ask of a player of his caliber at 38 years old. Like, there's nothing else you could really say you can say bad about LeBron James. This does not hurt. Excuse me. This did not hurt his legacy or any BS stuff you probably heard people say. He did his thing. If anything, you should be, people could be pissed at Anthony Davis, but that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, LeBron expected to return, and I never thought I would have to talk about this at this point. A lot of us didn't, but of course, LeBron James is one of the greatest of all time. You can argue he's the GOAT. I say he's the GOAT of this era. Michael Jordan's the GOAT of his era. We can, that's how I look at it. But I do see why sometimes people do look at him as an attention-seeking guy. Like he has to have his name out there in the headlines to probably, kind of distract you from what really is going on. And what I mean by that is the main storyline should have been, the headline should have been LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers, or just say Los Angeles Lakers swept by Denver Nuggets, and surprisingly was swept by Denver Nuggets. Again, I had the Lakers winning the series in 6, but even I understand, Denver being a better team after what I've, seen, but I definitely did not see no sweep. No one saw them getting swept by Denver. But that should have been the headline. Everyone should have just been giving Denver Nuggets their flowers. They deserve the respect, whatever. Move on, Los Angeles, go next year. But for some reason, and it was an okay question. I think someone asked LeBron this, do you see yourself return next year, blah, 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 and everything like that. And LeBron went on to answer the question, saying that, he's going to have a lot to think about. He don't know if he's going to come back, da-da-da-da-da. I'm saying blah, blah, blah because, yes, I understand he asked the question, but I would like in that situation, LeBron's played in the NBA long enough. He's a phenomenal athlete. He knows how to handle himself in front of a camera. I just wish in that moment he would just have said, I'm not thinking about that right now. We just lost the series. This is not something that I'm used to. I get to the conference finals, all that stuff. I get to I want to win championships. I'm not thinking about that right now. Denver deserves all the credit. I'm not thinking about that. That is it. That's what he could have said. And I know the media probably would still find a way to flip it, but that's it. But for him to come out, his answer was for him to come out and say, I don't know if I'm going to come back, basically leaving it up in the air. Knowing damn well that the media would run with that and everyone's like, oh my God, is LeBron going to retire? It took away from what happened. It's like he distracted everybody for at least like 3-4 days about what happened. Denver no one got their flowers. No one was talking about Denver. Every category, it seemed like people, topic, I should say, not category, was people talking about was LeBron James coming back. And I don't like that. That's corny to me. That's ridiculous, dude. Like, just say, I'm not thinking about it. Hats off to Denver. That's it. And again, I just don't like that because we know it was all BS. They did this for, I think I said 3-4 days. Everyone just kept asking, is he coming back? I think Undisputed with Skip and Shannon literally had like 3-4 segments back to back talking about the Lakers. Them be losing to Denver, LeBron retiring. Is he going to play with his son? I'm just, bro, what is the point when you know he was coming back? I mean, Kobe had, rest in peace, Kobe had a retirement tour. I think Paul Pierce did a retirement tour. I think I remember Vince Carter did. When he, stuff like that. I'm just saying players have done it before, not just NBA, NFL, stuff like that. LeBron is going to have some last dance type thing like Chicago, like Michael Jordan, the Bulls. There's no way this dude is going to go out without everyone knowing that he's going out, like he's done. He's going to have at least one season where and one season or whatever he's going to announce is going to be my last year, and every game is going to probably be televised. Everything is going to be hyped up. They're probably going to ask him if he's going to come back, even though he's saying he's not going to come back. The point is, it's ridiculous he even put it out there. He was never going to retire. And if anyone thought that, you're an idiot. People kept saying, it was, people was like, he has been playing for 20 years, man. He's 38 years old. No. I'm not saying he probably won't retire next year or whatever. I'm just saying he's not going out without a retirement tour. I refuse to believe that. He's just going to go out and not say a word. That's not been LeBron James style. No. And a player of his caliber, you want to see him go out over going to different arenas and stuff like that and giving you different stories of how when he played here or when he went to Madison Square Garden and, against the Knicks and their fans and playing in Cleveland for the last time. Like, come on. There's too much it's must-see TV once he's done. That's it. It's kind of like with Tom Brady when everyone thought, this is going to be Tom Brady's last year. Well, he officially retired this year, but then he did that back when he retired the first time. We thought he was done, but then he came back that very same offseason. The point is, he's not. LeBron was never retiring, and I'm not mad at the journalists, whoever that asked that question, but I just wish, again, and this is just my opinion, I wish LeBron would have just said, just dead it right then and there that he's not thinking about that. And again, I know that maybe headlines would have been LeBron has not committed to the Lakers, but at least leave it up to the media, what they always do, throwing out BS narratives, than LeBron leaving it out there for everybody else. It's just, I don't know. That's just ridiculous to me. He was never going to retire. He's expected to return to the Lakers. I think he has 2 more years left on his contract. And he already said, forget the retirement tour, he already said that he wants to play with his son Bronny for at least 1 year. His son Bronny, I believe, committed to the USC, to the Trojans men's college basketball team this year. So I think he'll obviously play 1 year there, go to the draft, and then he'll be in the NBA. And LeBron has teased that if he doesn't get drafted to the Lakers or whatever, wherever team he gets drafted to, I'm talking about his son Bronny, he's going to go to that team so he can play with his son. And now, I mean, that can change. His son probably don't want to play with his dad, maybe, and he don't probably care. And maybe LeBron's like, all right, son, I thought I said that, but I'm just want to retire and get this over with. And that's it. It's just, it was never going to happen, is my point. I know I can repeat myself, but he was never just going to retire without some swan song thing. He was not going to just go into the, into the background and not let you know way, way ahead of time that he was, he was done. It was ridiculous that people even thought that. NBA is eyeing a new challenge rule. It's not approved yet, but they are going to talk about it, probably maybe approve it this offseason. But the ruling would allow teams to get a second challenge if the first one is successful. I don't even know why this has not happened yet. In the NBA, you do have one challenge. And if you are successful, that's it. The call is overturned or something, and that's it. You win the challenge. But for some reason, it's like they just do the good thing, just little things when they should just be straightforward. That once you're successful with the challenge, you should be able to get your challenge back, or you should have, basically like it said, you get a second challenge, because it seems like the NBA be punishing teams. They be like crucial challenges, like in the fourth quarter, maybe it's a 1-point lead. It was a charge that was probably not a charge that was called, and it probably wasn't a charge. It was a foul called, it should have been a foul, or just out of bounds play or whatever, where a player trying to save a ball out of bounds and it went off another guy and you have to challenge it. It just seems like you get punished for using your challenge because you don't get it back if you're successful. It doesn't make any sense to me. That's something that should not need to be discussed long term. As far as like a long conversation, as soon as it gets to the off season, just approve that rule. It should have been that way. You shouldn't lose your challenge after being successful. You should lose your challenge, of course, when you aren't successful. That's what happens in the NFL. Of course, you're not going to be rewarded for losing your challenge. But if you are successful, just give the challenge back. And now some fans are against that, having a second challenge, because they think it slows the game up. I don't know how that makes any sense. You want them to get the call right, because again, if a team is screwed out of a certain play or foul call, whatever, you want that to be reviewed, because you hate when you leave it up to the refs and either they don't review it or they just move on, and you could have had another challenge in your pocket to use. I don't know why people be against this. This should have been that way. I hope they approve that. Doug said it should be approved this offseason. Because a lot of fans can look back on this year and there could have been calls that you like, yo, we got the challenge successful, but damn, later on in the game, that same game, you could be like, man, I wish we had another challenge, because that would have been helpful during that time. So you got to pick and choose when you use your challenge, when it could really affect the game, when you either don't throw out that only challenge you got, versus, oh, okay, we're going to use it this early in the game, and then boom, shit, I wish we had another one, because this call is very crucial that could help decide the game for us. So overall, this should have been that way. Excuse me, losing my voice. But yeah, I hope they do approve this and give teams another challenge if they are successful. Oh man, Miami Heat versus Boston Celtics, and they are going to a Game 7. Now, I said this to you guys. I don't even want to talk about this. You would think I'm a Miami Heat fan the way I'm acting, but Jesus. I told you guys last episode 9 of Jack of All Plays, when the Denver Nuggets was up, I believe 3-0. Yeah, it was up 3-0. I told you guys if somehow the Los Angeles Lakers was going to come back and win that series, or I honestly was going to start thinking that the series is rigged. I was not going to think the whole thing is rigged, or the whole league is rigged. I'm not getting into that. But I started to see people's discussions or understanding why people feel that way about, certain sports events. So the Miami Heat, I had Miami Heat at least winning the series in 5 after they went up 3-0 on Boston last week. But here we are, and they are now tied at 3-3. Game 6 happened yesterday in Miami, and a lot of BS foul calls, fishy foul calls, very ticky-tack foul calls. The Boston Celtics was getting from the refs, getting help from the refs on certain calls. Fans saw it or seen it, whatever. And then it got weirder as in the fourth quarter, it seemed like the refs was doing everything they can at some point to help Miami get the game. It just, I don't understand. I hate when games leave up to referees because it's just so bad, dude. It's so annoying. But it was in the fourth quarter. I think under a minute or so. Yeah, it was definitely under. It was like 20 seconds, whatever. The Miami Heat, I think, was down 103 to 101. 103 to 101, something like that. They was down. Jimmy Butler had the ball, and a foul was called. Al Horford was guarding him, I believe, and a foul was called. And I have a definitive picture. I posted on Twitter. You can see it on everyone's Twitter. I'm pretty sure it's talking about it. You talk about NBA Twitter. Everyone's talking about it. Because it looks like you could clearly see when the ref put their hands up like this, it's basically mean the foul was called, they blew the whistle, whatever. You could clearly see when the ref put his hand up, the foul was called in live time. It was called with 2.1 seconds left on the clock. And they called it a shooting foul, and it was a 3-point shooting foul. Jimmy makes all 3 free throws, 104, 103. But before he did that, they put 0.9 seconds, or they put extra 0.9 seconds on the clock to give Boston basically 3 seconds to get a shot off or whatever would happen. Now, again, you're not even thinking about that. Now, some fans, obviously Miami Heat fans, were thinking about that. I think my brother Malik, shout out to my brother M. Wade, who's a Miami Heat fan, he called it immediately. He said, yo, they got 3 seconds now all of a sudden. It was 2.1. Some people argued that they thought worst case should have been 2.6, 2.7. The point is those 0.9 seconds was huge, was freaking huge because of what happened after the timeout. Boston runs a play out of bounds where Marcus Smart, of all people, I like Marcus Smart, but I thought they would run a play for Jason Tatum for anything, but maybe Miami did a good job defending him. Marcus Smart catches the ball and just shoots a very, awkward 3-pointer. He turns around and just falls back. And the ball goes kind of like in and out. And the crowd starts cheering until you see Corey White, their shooting guard. Corey White comes out of nowhere and gets the putback. He puts the ball back into the hoop, and the Boston Celtics win in a crazy, crazy fashion and win the game, I think, 105, 104. They beat Miami to force Game 7. Now, let me just argue for the people that are saying it's not rigged, and I understand this argument, like I said, I'm with both sides here. You could argue Jimmy Butler, he had a horrible game. He didn't really show up to the fourth quarter, became playoff Jimmy like we know, but he had a horrible game. He even told after the game you could put that loss on him. Bam had a bad game. Overall, Miami did not play very well, especially their 2 key players. Definitely their playoff superstar, Jimmy Butler, did not play well at all. You could argue that. That's why they lost. If he would have played halfway decent throughout the first 3 quarters, they would have probably won the game going away. You can argue that. I'm not sitting there saying you're bad for arguing it. But again, I said this last time. I don't think you can immediately just shove the side of people that are saying it's rigged. I know Boston Celtics fans don't give a damn. They're handing out boxes of tissues for everybody that's crying about this. But you got to see some people's argument, dude. I just don't understand it. Let's start with the fact you're up 3-0. I refuse to believe. Yes, you can say Boston Celtics, the Boston Celtics are the better team. Overall, they got a better roster, whatever. I just refuse to believe a team that is up 3-0 have outplayed this other team. I'm talking about Miami versus Boston. All of a sudden, they can't do anything right to get one game. And I get it. I said this before, that when Miami went up 3-0, I was like, yo, okay, I can see Boston, pride and everything. They avoid the sweep. They make it 3-1, and then Miami finished it in Boston, or maybe they finish it in 6. For a team to win 3 straight, and in this case have a chance to win 4 straight after being down 3-0, and it's never happened before ever in NBA history. I think the record is 0 and 151. 151 times a team in the playoffs have been down 3-0. They have never came back. I don't understand this. I don't get it. And again, you can chalk it up on the other side of people that saying it's not rigged, saying, listen, yo, Sean, the Miami Heat just not playing well. They're not doing the fundamentals. They're not doing the things that put them in that position in the first place. It just really is confusing. Even though if I don't think it's rigged, because again, I'm not a person trying to be a conspiracy theorist, through all this, I still can't sit here and just pretend like it doesn't raise questions. It doesn't drive you crazy. Again, I'm not a Miami Heat fan, because I can only imagine how they feel waking up this morning, and I don't get it. I don't get it. And the second thing, it goes back to that time. Now, some people said, I guess, the foul, when they reviewed, for people that saying it's not rigged, and they was, explaining it to others on Twitter or whatever, they're saying that when the refs went over, and you, like I said, live time, you could clearly say it put 2.1 seconds on the clock when the foul was called. But people are saying, I guess, when they reviewed it, the first foul is what they went back to, because they're saying that Al Horford, I guess, had his hand on Jimmy's back or his arm, and the foul should have been called then. So they put the clock back on that time. They put the clock on the 3 seconds because that's where the first foul occurred. I don't think that makes any sense. In my opinion, maybe that's always how it's been, but that doesn't make any sense to me. You didn't call the foul on the first one at all. There was no question about it. You didn't call it. You called the foul on the second time he did foul Jimmy, according to the refs. But the clock maybe that's how it's always been. I just don't understand that rule. You're literally reviewing the foul that occurred, the one you called, the one that we're in this position in the first place. I don't understand how you can go back and just like, let's just put back the time on the clock because that was when the foul first occurred. That's not what we're looking at. We're looking at the fact you called the foul. I don't understand that. That doesn't make any sense to me. Again, if maybe that's always been the rules, but that doesn't make sense. That's ridiculous in my opinion. I don't understand that. Wow. That's crazy. Now again, on the other end, people said that if they go back and look at that, they shouldn't be looking at the double dribble. They say that Jimmy Butler did. I didn't think he double dribbled, but some people saying he double dribbled before that second foul was called, where it was 2.1 seconds on the clock. So that would be my question. Why didn't they, when they went back and reviewed the whole thing and not just review the actual foul that the whistle was blown for, why didn't they go back and just call it a turnover and say, it comes off as silly, but why not just say, oh, well, he double dribbled. That should have been that's just a turnover in general. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to go back and look at the first one that wasn't called, why not look at the double dribble that people say that he did? I'm just saying, like, it don't make sense to me. You're going back and look at everything else when you should have looked at the whole reason you blew the whistle in the first place was because of that foul call. My argument is there shouldn't have been 0.9 seconds on the clock. You could, if anything, maybe give him 0.6. There was some people that said that it could have been 2.7, 2.8, but those 2 seconds, basically 2 seconds in general, was so important because with Marcus Smart shooting that shot with 2.1 seconds, there is no chance for Corey White at all to even get a chance to put the ball back in the hoop after it came out after the 3-point attempt by Marcus Smart. There would have been no chance. So even if you don't think it's rigged and stuff like that, I'm here and there saying what it is or not, whatever. You cannot argue that is huge. That was huge, man. Like, I just don't understand how people can't see how big that was. Adding that extra 0.9 seconds was so huge because it's a quick shot up in the air, and then you got enough time to get up there and get the ball out. It was amazing in of itself that Corey White even got the ball out. Because everyone was like, oh, it's no good. I was yelling at yo, it's no good, it's no good. And I was like, oh my effing God. This dude really got it off in time. That point, those seconds was huge. It was probably it was crazy. But again, I'm playing both sides here. I'm looking at it from both ends. A lot of people can just chalk this up that Miami, again, is not doing what they're supposed to do just to finish the series. And in that game specifically for yesterday, they could have just boxed out. If they would have boxed out, we would have probably not been having this conversation either, man. It's just, I don't understand it. Sports is weird. I know this gets people's hype and stuff. It's a crazy series. I don't know. I'm having fun watching, I guess. It's just, I put on Twitter I don't even care about the series anymore because I feel so bad, dude. And for Miami fans, I love Jimmy Butler, I love Eric Spoelstra. I feel bad, dude. They really could be the first team in NBA history to lose a 0-3 series lead. That is insane to me. It just doesn't seem right. I'm not kidding. No hating against Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics. I like the Celtics. I love Jason Tatum. I love Jaylen Brown. I like Marcus Smart. It just doesn't feel right. It just feels weird that you need one game and all of a sudden you can't play basketball. You can't do the things that got you up 3-0 just to close out this team that you have shown you can handle. One game, okay. That's pride. They don't want to get swept. Second game, like, damn it. But come on, bro. We're 3 straight. Wow. And at this point, if I had to make my prediction before I move on on this episode, I would say Boston's going to win. I just can't see, regardless of what Eric Spoelstra, Jimmy Butler, and the rest of that team say over in Miami, dude, it's deflating. I don't know how you can really, you're excited because obviously you get a chance. You still got the dog and you pumping, hitting your chest like, man, we still have a chance to get to the NBA Finals, guys. We need to need one more. I just don't know how it's so deflating to have to go back to Boston in front of that crowd and do it again, where you have to play and get that one win. Because those fans are going to be crazy because they see the moment. The players see the moment. You have a chance to make history and move on to the NBA Finals. I don't have Miami winning Game 7. Because the main thing you're thinking is, why are we still playing in this series? Why are we not preparing for Denver? I know players have to have a short-term memory during losses and stuff, but that's crazy. That is crazy. The Milwaukee Bucks get a new head coach. They hired Toronto Raptors assistant Adrian Griffin to replace former head coach Mike Budenholzer, who was the Milwaukee Bucks head coach for the past 5 years. He got NBA championship and everything. Mike Budenholzer was a good coach for Milwaukee. I like Mike Budenholzer. The Bucks were looking to get Nick Nurse, who was the actual head, who was a former head coach of the Toronto Raptors, and I thought would have been a good hire. I don't know much about Adrian Griffin. It's what I've picked up from articles. He was a former player. I think they said he played 8-9 years in the league, and he also, like I said, he was an assistant for the Raptors from 2018 to 2023. Also, he's an assistant for Chicago Bulls, Orlando Magic, and Oklahoma City Thunder. And also one thing I forgot to write in my notes is that Giannis, mega star Giannis from the Milwaukee Bucks vouched for Adrian Griffin. He actually wanted Adrian Griffin to be their head coach. So it's always good when you get the input that from your main franchise guy. I love when teams do that. You should always talk to your franchise player. Hey, you want to sit on this meeting? Do you want to, what do you think about this coach? What direction you think we should? You should always try to see where your main player's head is at as well. I know front office is going to do what they think is best, but you should involve your main guy all the time. And I did like the Milwaukee Bucks did, Giannis say, look, man, I'll vouch for him. I definitely want him here. And they said, all right, let's get it done. Let's get it done. There's still a lot of good head coaches still out there. I think the Sixers are still looking for a head coach. I think I want to say Phoenix is still looking for one. And I think Toronto is as well, because I'm pretty sure Nick Nurse is not there no more. So that was it, you guys, as far as NBA news of the week on my Jack of All Plays episode 10. Just going to go over the National Hockey League, the playoff series between Vegas and Dallas real quick. And then I'm going to give you guys the Major League Baseball. No, actually, I am not going to give you guys the Major League Baseball standings. I'm sorry. I thought I had it loaded up. I did not. Just real quick, there's nothing really going on in baseball right now. It's been a good season, but trust me, I've been checking articles and like that. It's the main thing everyone's talking about with Major League Baseball. Like I said, it's been a fun series. It's been a fun season so far. Still a long time, a lot to go, obviously. But the main thing everyone's really talking about is where Shohei Ohtani is going to end up. He still plays for the Los Angeles Angels, but that's really like the main story. You know, no one's really talking about anything else. Everyone's wondering, is he going to end up on the Dodgers, somehow the Mariners or something. I just said Mariners because I'm a Mariners fan, so I'm sorry, that was probably biased. But overall, yeah, that's the main thing going on. There's really been, like I said, no trades, none big right now, and teams just going through the season at this point. So we're going to wrap it up here, you guys, with National Hockey League, the playoff series. The Florida Panthers did finish their series. I believe they swept the Carolina Hurricanes, or they did win in 5, something like that. The point is, the Florida Panthers is in the Stanley Cup Finals. I believe they are the 4th 8th seed in National Hockey League history that has made it to the Stanley Cup Finals. Again, I told you guys, I'm not a Florida Panthers fan, hockey fan, but in this playoff series, I definitely am. I told you guys, I love the way the Florida Panthers play. Just real gritty and just defensively, like they're locked in. Listen, I said all this last episode of Jack of All Plays. So they're on the Eastern Conference side. They're just waiting for the finish over in the Western Conference. And we have another strange playoff series between the Dallas Stars and the Vegas Golden Knights. The reason why it is strange is because yesterday the Dallas Stars forced they forced a Game 6 after beating Vegas 4-2. Now, you'll probably say, Sean, why is that strange? Well, if you're paying attention to the hockey playoffs like I have, the Vegas Golden Knights was up 3-0. That is right. Just like in the Boston Celtics and Miami Heat series when Miami was up 3-0, and now it's tied 3-3, we have a situation where the Dallas Stars have beaten the Vegas Golden Knights back-to-back times and made it 3-2. So another playoff series, we have a team that just cannot put the other one away when they're up 3-0 and a chance to go to your league's championship series. I don't know. I don't know, man. The Golden Knights and Dallas Stars yesterday, I said this happened yesterday night. The Golden Knights and Dallas Stars were tied 2-2 going into the third final period, where the Stars ended up scoring 2 straight goals early. I think it was like a 12-minute and 10-minute mark. They scored 2 goals to go up 4-2, and that was basically it. So yeah, that series is now 3-2. I believe they're going back to Dallas tomorrow on Monday for Game 6. So yeah, I don't understand what's going on in these playoff series. 3-0, 3-0, now 3-3, now this one 3-2. It's just it seems at this point Dallas is going to probably force a Game 7, and maybe Vegas chokes their 3-0 lead. I don't know. It just seems very weird that we're having this in the NBA and also phone's falling in National Hockey League. So that's it, you guys. It's been your boy Sean Bellamy. Oh, goodness gracious, I'm sorry, this will not stop falling. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up though. It's been your boy Sean Bellamy. The Jack of All Plays, episode 10. Hit the like and subscribe. I appreciate the continued support for this podcast. I am out. Peace.